Today we're going to learn to play melody, which is on page 7 of David Carr Glover, Piano Student 2, Level 2. In this lesson, we're learning all about the dotted quarter note. How do we understand the dotted quarter note? I've made a little chart, which I'll be sending you, email. The dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. The best way to learn is to start by practicing a quarter note with 2 eighth notes and then a quarter note. So let's take a look at the picture. A quarter note, 2 eighth notes, and a quarter note. How does that sound? Let's just take any note on the piano. Let's say middle C. Now, how would we count that? Well, we know that when we break it up into 2 halves, we say and. And if we don't break it up, we just say the full number. So we would go 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. To do the dotted quarter note, we have a quarter note, which equals this, but we also have a dot. The dot is, the note itself is the full count, and the dot equals half of the next count, which in this case you would say the number 2. So you'd say 1, a full 1 for the first one, and a half a 2 for the next one. You'd say 1, 2, but the and would come over here. Or it's the same thing as if we tied together these notes. So let's try that. Instead of going 1, 2, and 3, let's tie all of 1 with half a 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. What we're doing, we're tying the first 2 notes, the quarter note and the eighth note, and we're playing only 1 time there, whereas the eighth note is played by itself. 1, 2, and 3. That's how we would play this if we tied the first 2 notes. The dotted quarter is exactly that thing. 1, 2, and 3. Let's try it. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now with that being said, we're going to learn to play the song melody. The right hand starts out with a dotted quarter. Now it's not middle C. We just have to read the notes, but it's the same timing. Listen. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. On line 2, you have 2 counts. 1, 2, then 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Now, let's ask a question. On line 2, you have 2 counts and 1 count. What's the difference between saying 1, 2, 3 there and saying 1, 2, 3 in the first measure? Well, when you say 1, 2 in the first measure, you're only doing 1.5 counts. So, you go 1, 2, then play the next note. Whereas when you do the 2 counts in the second line, first measure, the first note is 2 full counts. So you go 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's a whole 2. So listen again. First measure, first line. First measure, second line. A little bit different. Now let's play this song. Let's put the left hand in here. It has partial chords. It's a partial C chord and it's a partial G7. Now you might notice that in the middle of the page where it says the name of the song, melody, notice underneath it says from Sonata in A. What does that mean? Well, the composer Mozart did not write this in the scale of C. They put it in the scale of C because it's easier to read. He wrote it in the scale of A. What is the scale of A? Take our right thumb, move over, instead of being on C, put the right thumb on A. Also, have your middle finger on C sharp because the scale of A has 3 sharps. We won't have to worry about playing all of them because our hand stays in this position. So what you can do, there's 2 ways I teach this, and this is the second way to playing the song melody. Put your thumb on A in the right hand. Put your little finger on A in the left hand, and make sure both middle fingers are on C sharp. Now, one of the few times I tell a student to do this, but read the numbers. Look at the numbers and see if you can play the song in A. And then compare how it sounds in A. Listen. Which do you think is prettier? I think the answer is obvious, isn't it? So that's our lesson with the melody, the sonata in A, but also played originally in the scale of C.